growing fury that Meghan Markle continues to use her royal title, which is in direct contravention to the Sandringham Summit Agreement. And remember, that was a deal that Prince Harry signed off with the late Queen Elizabeth II. So he is now betraying the memory of his late grandmother, not just the current royal family. This egregious decision was exposed during Meghan's interview with Jamie Kern-Lima, where you could see a gift basket that Meghan had sent, which said, there you see it, with compliments, HRH, Duchess of Sussex, using her Royal Highness title. Proof. And the fact is, people who say, well, that's not for commercial gain. I'm sorry, you think Jamie Kern-Lima has included that in this podcast without Meghan's explicit permission? This is her best friend. Angela Levin, you are disgusted about this. Senior royal family sources are disgusted about this. What is she playing at? Is she purposefully now trying to take on the royal family?
Yes, I think this is one of her things where she says, look, I can do anything much better than you. And the Queen is now no longer here. She realizes it's such a good time because King Charles won't get involved with that because he's not well and he's got plenty to do. And William and Catherine, they've got their own issues and problems and very busy, and their children. So she's just done it and is probably roaring with laughter how clever it is. But this is what's strange. If she wants to do something political in America, they don't want anybody who is a British royal member of the family. And so that's out. If she wants to get cuddling up to Catherine and William, which is what she seems to want to be doing now, having said, I'll never go over there, they will be furious, and so it won't happen. And Harry, who is trying quite hard to get to see his family, he won't stand a chance either, because he should have been able to say to her, absolutely not, please don't do this, it's absolutely wrong. She takes no notice of that. So why is she doing it? And I think that the reason is to show off and say that she can do anything she likes. It's just horrible. It's a really nasty nature, really spiteful, nasty, awful nature.
I mean, Sam Markle, you can understand from my point of view, I think this is why the Sandringham Summit Agreement, even though the late Queen Elizabeth II tried so hard, why it was never strong enough. They should be stripped of their titles, shouldn't they? Because they now make a mockery of the royal family, and I'm done with it. I mean, I've been done with it for a long time, but come on, Charles, just get rid of the titles. Enough is enough. Do you agree, Sam?
Yeah, and here's the problem. I don't think a lot of people are aware of this. It's not just making a mockery of the royal family. They're making a mockery of the United States Constitution.
Correct.
That prohibits the use of royal titles, especially in American politics. And Harry and Meghan, can't be ignorant to this fact. They've used the titles against congressional advisement on continuum, preceding public, even political speeches. So they simply can't do it. It creates a false sense of elevated status and reliance that the public have, and it gives them a false sense of credibility that has political influence and influences voters. So with that said, we've heard about Act Blue, we've heard about USAID, we've heard about a lot of this using that royal title, and it simply has to stop. And as far as, giving someone little desserts and writing special little notes to elevate their day, like she did for Jamie when she was, quote, down or whatever she was going through. What about Dad through 2 heart attacks and a stroke? Could you write him a nice little letter? Could you send him a little something, send him a little dessert to make him feel better? I mean, it's such PR, and it's so cringeworthy,
It is.
in my opinion.
It is, but it's now doing damage. The problem is, Sam, your sister is now doing damage to the British royal family. That's why I think action should be taken. But look, I've also been desperate to speak to you both about this other stunt. I mean, it's stunt after stunt at the moment, and we know why this is, by the way. Let me just be honest with you. It's because Meghan knows Confessions of a Female Founder is a massive flop, so she's trying to fill the space with everything else possible so that people are not talking about the fact that her podcast has fallen out of the top 100. It's mortifying. But so what we got was Lily's voice. And there's been a lot of people, including Angela, raising questions about this very odd-sounding voice. Now, when I was watching the Jamie Kern-Lima interview, was struck by Meghan's use of a word. Watch this.
I love when things look beautiful. And even when you don't have a lot, you're able to make things look
beautiful. You know, she's always talking about beautiful in a particular way. And guess who else on Sunday was saying beautiful?
But
What do we think, Lily?
I think it's beautiful.
And Angela Levin, you posted on this, Meghan Markle's daughter doesn't speak at all like a 3-year-old. Who owns the voice? It will show up much better if we hear several sentences. And then you hear Meghan in this interview saying, beautiful. I mean, what's going on?
well, I think she's always wanted to show that the children are much cleverer than they are for their age. You know, they might be very clever, but all sorts of things that Archie, I think, is going fishing and catches fish, all sorts of strange things that they manage to do all by themselves because they're their children. But there are people who do that, you know, want them to be better than they can be. But what actually worried me more than that is the fact that the child's hair was just left long. She was very near the boiling saucepan. And I thought to myself, how on earth can any mother actually leave a child dressed like that? Because if she flicks her head, she might get her hair in with the strawberries. And I also wondered why she was making strawberry jam, because it's all being done professionally now in a factory. So what was that all about? I have absolutely no idea why she was doing that. Was it just so that her little daughter would say, it's beautiful? And it's difficult to hear a voice, but I do think that 3-year-olds do have a childlike voice. And I don't think this was a childlike voice.
Samantha, can I just ask you, because obviously that's Andrew and I talking about it from a perspective of the royal family. But can I ask you, Samantha, how this impacts you as a Markle, hearing your niece's voice for the first time in a story on Instagram? Is it upsetting for you? Is it disturbing for you? And also, how does your dad feel about it?
It's not upsetting on the grounds, and I don't believe that that's her voice, on the grounds that every photograph we've seen of the alleged children, their hair color changes, their height and body type changes, their face changes. So this is just, some random voice. All we saw was some little hand that seemed so small. It didn't seem like it belonged to a 3-year-old. So much was inconsistent about this. That I just think it's a kind of a turnoff. I'm not buying it.
Yeah. What about your dad? Does he get upset that this is the only access he has to his grandchildren?
No, I think he feels the same thing, and he has stated that the hair color on these children keeps changing. Where, there's one picture where this alleged Lilibet has sort of a sandy blonde hair from a distance. And then she's got bright, stark red curly hair. We don't know if, the Sussex Squad and PR have photoshopped some of it. But the bottom line for me is that there is no consistent reference, no real point of reference for the faces of these alleged children. We have no idea what they look like, if they have Markle genetics, we don't know what they look like from a distance, from the back, from the
What
side, or
about the
just
voice? The voice. Did you sense Markle at all in the voice?
No. I haven't sensed Markle at all from the beginning of this. And again, I think any family, when you're looking at genealogy and you're looking at photographs and you're thinking, oh, well, she's got his nose or her nose, and oh my God, there's grandpa's nose. We haven't seen any photographs to use as identifying point of references for family genetic traits. So we're left thinking, okay, are these stand-ins? Do they not want the real children seen? What's the deal? But we cannot say that these are Markle children. It would be so foolhardy and ignorant to say that with no visual point of reference.
Andrew, another question that has finally been asked in the mainstream media, and we see this on the front page of the Daily Mail today, with the former Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries writing, Meghan's businesses are struggling, so is it any wonder she's now trying to use her children to rescue her brand? And here's why Harry won't be talking about it. Now, Andrew, again, I know this is nothing new for us. We've been speaking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. Meghan is commercializing her kids. She's pimping out her children. You're Prince Harry's biographer. We both know there's no way he's happy about it. No way. He talks about social media being like a death zone for children, yet here are his children all the time being put up on social media by Meghan. But what did you make of the fact that this has now gone mainstream with this column from Nadine Dorries on the front page of the Daily Mail, the former Culture Secretary of the United Kingdom?
Well, I'm very pleased to see it at last. I mean, you and I thought about this ages ago because suddenly they were important, and suddenly she also kept us on a string that if you watch her, maybe you'd like to buy something, but you then might find her, look at her face or look at his face. And I think that people do feel more about buying things if there's small children there. If they like children, it encourages them to do, oh, aren't they sweet? Oh, why don't we just go and get the jam or whatever it is? Please send it through to me. And I think that, you know, suddenly they're there. They haven't been there all this time. She doesn't obviously care what Harry thinks because he doesn't want this. One of the main things in his life is not to have children that can be seen by people because he feels something could happen, like happened, God forbid, to his mother. That's his scared, and you can understand that up to a certain extent. So Meghan is gradually showing more and more of them, and I don't think she cares whether what he feels or what he doesn't feel. The other thing, of course, is to not do what she's doing, which is advertising herself, because he thinks it's very, very bad for everyone. But she wants to do it for herself, and never mind the children. When Harry was asked about what he feels now about children with social media, he said, oh, mine are too young to do anything about that yet, which was just passing the question, because actually a child of 5 can do all sorts of things, talk to their parents or when they're on holiday, to somebody else. He could even meet his family if he wanted to. So you can't actually say that. It's nonsense for a 5-year-old. They're much more technically clever than the older generation are. So I think that this is purely to divert again. She's very good at divert people from saying, oh, well, that jam or that crepe was absolutely disgusting. No, she doesn't want that. There's that little boy. Did you see that lovely hairstyle? Oh, she looks so sweet from the back. And isn't Archie growing? You can do all that actually and try and get away with it. And it's a shocking way to do that. It's a shocking way to use your children to help you get on like that. Absolutely.
Sam, you wanted to come in?
Angela, on that note, though, if the consideration is protecting children, whether it's, from Harry's perspective or Meghan's, what about these reports of her promoting and showing the Wales children and a clothing line that Princess Catherine liked? In other words, she seemingly had no problem putting them on her Instagram page. And they are children after all. And I wonder if she had consent to do that. It just seemed like, well, I'm not going to put my own children out there, but I'll put the Wales children out there. It seemed very weird, hurtful, and I had questions about the consent.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you 100%. I agree with you, because, little Charlotte, who'll be 10 in a few days, little Charlotte wore that dress that she had a photograph of when she was 4, and it looked gorgeous on her, but it's very much an English dress, and she bought it in from the company in England, so she knew exactly what she was doing. And again, this is actually coming up against them and saying, I can do this because I want to. And it's very embarrassing, because they don't want their children being shown by Meghan, of all people. Absolutely not. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and has everyone also just forgotten? Has everyone just forgotten, by the way, that it was Ms. Markle who made young Charlotte cry, before her wedding? Are we all just going to pretend that didn't happen? I mean, come on. Now, I want to get both of your reaction to another moment from the Jamie interview, where I think Meghan has been totally disingenuous about the situation that happened between herself and Gwyneth Paltrow. So to set this up, you'll remember Gwyneth Paltrow gave an interview to Vanity Fair where she was very obviously criticising Meghan Markle, embarrassed about Meghan Markle, said she didn't really know her, made a dig about the fact that she could go and see her at her house, but she probably couldn't because there's a whole load of security there. Dumb Montecito neighbours, of course. Now, Gwyneth, rather than being like Martha Stewart and just being brave and thinking, I don't care that the media is saying that I've gone to war with Meghan Markle because this is truly how I think, Gwyneth decided to stunt something up for Instagram with Meghan. Now, in the interview with her BFF, Meghan acts as if this whole situation had just passed her by and it was just Gwyneth texting her when she happened to realise that everyone was talking about it. I mean, Angela, it was a cycle that was started by Gwyneth Paltrow herself with the interview in Vanity Fair, not to mention the Instagram video that she posted, which was quite clearly mocking Meghan's Netflix TV show. So again, I think both women here are pretending that we're stupid.
We're not. So we are answering back. I mean, none of these things are interesting. They're both very stupid and very silly, and they're just trying to, it's rather childish, I think. It's a case for teenagers. Women in their 40s should know better and behave themselves. But as for not knowing what is on the television or anything like that, I don't believe that for a second, actually. And I see that that's also what all her team of people who make life awful for people are still working on TV and on all sorts of things to make people's lives difficult. I think that she's just trying to show that she's a fantastic woman and very, very clever, and even when she's got no makeup on, she's gorgeous. I'm sorry I keep going on at it, but I look at it and it's just, it's like a clown putting on makeup, actually, that she's taken all hers off to show that she's a completely worthy, sensible woman.
Yeah, but it's just another stunt. And I mean, the thing is, Samantha Markle, when it comes to the Gwyneth video, I mean, it was so obvious. Like, that was the mainstream media take on it. Gwyn mocks Meg. You only had to watch it. And so I'm actually pretty disappointed with Gwyneth Paltrow. But I guess the heat got too hot and she decided to get out of the kitchen rather than actually being like Martha Stewart, who stood firm and has made it very clear that Meghan ripped off the one pot pasta recipe, and she said it's the original and the best. And when she's been asked about the show, she just said, I haven't seen it. I didn't know
it's been on yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Has
Yeah.
it been on yet? I thought it was very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you both thought about it or noticed, but what I thought was kind of strange was this need to seemingly align with Gwyneth Paltrow. In other words, she's not been photographed without makeup, but all of a sudden, since Gwyneth Paltrow is clearly a natural beauty, au naturel, not a stitch of makeup on, and all of a sudden, Meghan has to appear without makeup on.
Yeah.
So it felt like that was kind of cheesy and staged to say, hey, I'm real. I'm a real woman. I don't have to do the proving game anymore. I just am what I am. And there was a clip that I don't know if you both saw, or part of it rather, when she was crying and she was talking about the proving game and shaking her head and saying, I'm a good mom. I'm a good friend. I'm a good person. As she is shaking her head no. So I was looking at the body language and going,
interesting.
wait
Yes,
a
we
minute, there's
did
a
play that
contradiction happening here.
on yesterday's show. And
Well spotted.
yeah, very well spotted. And Sam, I did want to ask you about that because she says, yeah, she's done proving herself to people. The prove it game, she said, is over because she knows she's a good friend. But what she never said, and I think it was quite telling, she never said, I know I'm a good daughter. I know I'm a good sister. She didn't say that.
Daughter-in-law,
did she?
even. Mm.
Right. And you know, I think this is a huge decoy. It's a red herring from all of the bullying, from the treatment of our family, from the treatment of the royal family. It's like, we didn't just hear about this. We watched you do this. So you can sit there and say, as you shake your head, no, I'm a good person. You know, we get the contradiction. And no, there is no proving game. You can't prove it. We already know. So
yeah, here's what she
game
said. We
over.
spend so much of our life trying to prove something, to prove that you're enough, to prove that you're pretty enough, to prove that you're smart enough, to prove that you're a good wife or a good friend. And I was like, I am just so done with the prove it game. But Sam Markle, at least she didn't say she was a good daughter or a good sister, because we know she's not. But even when she said a good friend, I thought, hang on a moment. You literally threw Jessica Mulrooney, your best friend, under the bus because she was caught up in a bit of a scandal around the time of the Black Lives Matter movement. She was your best friend, never to be heard of again. I find it absolutely extraordinary that she can claim to be a good friend.
And Nanaki Pretty, you know, her best friend forever since kindergarten. Where's Nanaki? Like, where are these real BFFs? Not the Insta Jiffy Pop BFFs for a seeming PR moment. You know, her makeup artist, all of these people that she can pull out quickly who really don't know about her life, who really don't know her motives, who weren't privy to a lot of this bullying, even though they must know about it unless they just crawled out from under a rock. But she's pulling these Jiffy Pop friends, and we don't buy it. These are not BFFs. These are, you know, friends with benefits. These are yes men, yes women. And that's my opinion, but that's the way it seems. It's too quick.
Yeah,
You don't
well, it's a
form
fact, isn't
best
it?
friendship
Jamie
that-
Kern Lima just happens to be a billionaire. Just happens to be a woman who sold It Cosmetics for $1 billion. And let's see, she has a lot of advice that she could give Meghan, couldn't she, on a whole load of issues. Was very interesting, by the way, and we will get into it properly later in the week. But was very interesting to note that Jamie Kern Lima is one of the women who has openly used a surrogate. So she knows a lot about that experience too. Mm-hmm. But fascinating analysis today. You know, I always love having both of you here. Our Royal Mastermind, Angela Levin, who will be back later in the week. And thank you to my wonderful friend, Samantha Markle, the sister of Meghan, but so much more than that, an author, a psych therapist, a former journalist. And I think once it's in you, once it's in you, Sam, it's always in you, isn't it? The whole journalism broadcasting thing. But so great to have you both with us today, and we will speak very soon.
In recent years, public interest in Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's family life has remained extremely high. However, their children, Archie and Lilibet, have largely been kept out of the public spotlight, with only limited photos and clips released. The video claims that members of Meghan Markle's family have raised concerns about Lilibet, focusing on her voice and appearance in various clips. It frames these observations as part of a larger and more serious narrative. It is very important to emphasize that these claims are not supported by verified evidence. Interpreting a child's voice or appearance based on short clips or images can be highly unreliable and often leads to incorrect conclusions. Factors such as lighting, camera quality, age differences, and even audio recording conditions can significantly affect how someone looks or sounds. Small variations can easily be misinterpreted as inconsistencies. When videos claim that family members are speaking out, this often refers to selective quotes, past interviews, or individuals who may not have direct knowledge. These statements are not always verified or representative. The use of words like scam and shock is designed to provoke strong reactions. While these terms increase engagement, they can also create a misleading impression that something has been proven when it has not. At this time, there is no credible evidence supporting the idea of any deception involving Lilibet. The claims appear to be based on speculation and online theories rather than confirmed facts. It is also important to consider that this discussion involves a young child. Speculating about a child's identity or personal details can be harmful and should be approached with caution and respect. Stories like this tend to spread quickly because they combine mystery, emotion, and high-profile individuals. However, popularity does not equal accuracy. So, while the video presents these claims as shocking revelations, the reality is that they remain unverified and highly speculative. It is important to approach such content critically and responsibly. What do you think? Are these claims being exaggerated, or is this simply another example of online speculation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more balanced and thoughtful analysis.